Are you ready to unlock your full potential? Motivational speaker, coach, God lover, and goal crusher Joe Rivera brings you inspiring leaders, incredible stories, and valuable lessons on how you can change, grow, and reforge your life. Now, here's your host, Joe Rivera.
What's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Reforge Your Life Show. I'm your host, Joe Rivera. And here at the Reforge Your Life Show, we show you that comebacks are more than possible. And today, I'm blessed to bring this guest that I'm bringing on stage. She's an entrepreneur, a businesswoman. She's a former fashion expert, and I like to call her a friend. Helen, thank you for coming on to the stage today, onto my show, and I really appreciate having you here, and man, it's a blessing.
It's a blessing for me. I am thrilled to be here. I love you, Joe. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too, man. I always love your energy, and I love when we get an opportunity to work together because I think, energy attracts like energy, and we both have that energy that brings it, and I love that.
Awesome.
So, listen, I've heard your story, and I love it, but I know not everybody in the audience has heard it, and I can't tell your story just as good as you could. So I'd love for you to share your story and let everybody know who you are and a few things about you there.
I want to share my story too, and but I think you can do a good job, pretty good job. Maybe you can highlight things that I can. For me, it's I probably take for granted, that thing, yeah. We went through that year. But yeah, I am here for oh man, it'll be 16 years in USA, and I like the stories of the beginnings, like when you come to something new, you're excited. But I got here, I didn't even say hello in English, which make my husband very happy because he is born in Brazil, but raised by America. So his English was very good, and he had so much fun with me because it was I couldn't say anything. And it all became a joke. But anyways, I gave myself 1 year to become fluent in English and be able to not just be back in fashion industry, big time work for companies like Adidas, Ripco, Billabong, and have my designs all over the place, but also be able to really be part of the culture, understand deeply. And he made fun of me when I started. He said 1 year. I don't think so. You barely say hello correctly. You watch me. And that's how the whole story began. So I got there, and my English was so bad, Joe, that when I got to the ESL classes, they gave me one class only. And it was kind of 1 hour only. And I said, no, but I need more because I have only this. But it's really bad. You need to start working on it. I was the worst and the best student that they ever had because I was the only one knocking their door at 8 a.m. every day asking for more classes. And they say, we never saw anybody like you. And because I couldn't speak, I used to draw it. I would get with a drawing and say more classes, more classes. Got to a point that the lady said, you're a pain. I was kind of in the Bible, this story of the lady that was knocking the door, the judge, oh no, you better give it to me, this cause. So then one day she came with a little key in her hand. She's like, come with me. And then she take me to an office in the back of this school and say, okay, stay here as long as you want. You have computers and you have what back in the day was Rosetta Stone. Sit down here, stay as long as you want. I don't care. And then a week after, I came back with sentences. I couldn't speak sentences. And they what? So I advanced really, really quick. And that's the entrepreneur heart, you find solutions. You don't look for the problem. Okay, the problem I already know. I know I don't speak English. You don't have to tell me that. But what is the thing? And that's a little bit of my story. And then after that, I got my first job in the industry, and I was able to learn a lot. And funny enough, later on, I was responsible for training not only people that was working with me, but any transitioning on the company and things like this. I was always invited to train everybody. I was like, isn't it interesting how it works? So that's a little bit of my story, Joe.
Yeah, so I mean, man, listen, coming here from another country, and learning a new language is challenging in itself. What other challenges did you go through your journey of coming into the country and getting into fashion? What challenges did you have to overcome in that area?
Yeah, even though like I laugh about this story and I love like looking back the persistence and everything, but it was a lot of that I have overcome with my mind and the conditions on my the world around me, because all I heard like for like the first years in my life was people like calling me stupid and dumb in my face, like retarded, like even if I got a job, like people would be mad at me and like cussing me out, and managers and people that was like responsible, and they were very upset, like, oh, you're so stupid. And I heard that many times. And even though I was very strong and look like they don't know me, they think like, and I would reinforce many times, I was like, I have an accent, I'm not stupid. It's like two different things. And but that built a lot of resilience in my mind, because especially having a business, your external world, Joe, always gonna tell you no, no matter what. You can be going so well today, and like something happens tomorrow, and how do you fight this? And I think it's starting this way, like really helped me train my mind to not listen what people are saying, but look to where I'm going and what do I want, like, yeah, they may say they are calling me stupid. Of so many times, like I had a girl that she used to call me retarded, like all the time. I was like, and then one day I laughed and she couldn't understand, because it was like, I don't think she knows the definition of the word, but like, we start for another day. And that built me a lot of resilience in my mind, resilience in my mind, Joe, to yes, people going to say things, people going to think things about me that they don't know me, and that is up to me to stand by what they say or stand by what I believe, and which one do I pick every day? And it's not that I didn't cry many days, because some days you feel stronger, some days you like, I know what I believe, I know where I'm going, but it has a lot of days that really like everything is like confirming what this person is telling me. And that was very hard. That was one of the things I have to battle for many years, like we still have to do every day. And that also trickles down to many times financially, because I was always very independent. I was raised to be independent. But when you have those type of issues, sometimes like you lose a job, you lose a position, or nobody lets you excel where you are because of this thing. So those are some of the factors that I had to work for so long, and still do. Um, but also help me build my own company, and I'll be able to help a lot of Americans and help them with work and get things done and expand their companies. And I think if I didn't have, we don't want the hard parts in our life, Joe, like, because we want to avoid. But looking back, if I didn't have that part of my life, where if was everything easy for me when I got here, I probably would not have built my own company or going after the things I believe.
Man, that's so powerful, and I just hope that the listeners out there are paying attention to the jewels that she's dropping here, because man, it's so easy to get caught up in the words that are given to us from other people, right? Like a lot of people struggle with, worrying about what other people think about them, worrying about when other people talk shit about them, and what that does to some people emotionally, right? Like how it brings them down and drags them down, and it looks like you use that as fuel for your success, which is so powerful, right? And how did you go about doing that? What was the process like? Because I'm sure at one point it was like like you said, you went home, you cried about it, it hurt you. So where did that transformation look like for you to be able to overcome that?
Okay, yeah, I was going to mention that because it is not easy every day. And sounds like now could be easy. And maybe a lot of people listening may say, yeah, it's easy for you to say. Like had times that I have to battle depression together. So and when you that really have like depression on top of this, is it's not easy. My source, Joe, is always Christ. As I pray about it, everything, and I really did, and I will cry about it. I'm like, Dad, you know what they're doing to me. I like you, David and I, like, oh, you see it, you can see what they're doing, like, but honestly, be very honest and vulnerable. To God, like directly to God, like I will like we lash out, and I believe in sincere and intimate prayers, which means, those are my sincerest prayers. It's not that ones that like, dear Father, like I don't think I ever had a dear Father type of prayer. So I was like, what the heck? Like, what fix this? You go like, okay, calm down. But he knows me. And that was a lot of part of the process. And the days that was too heavy, I really will not just lay down to God, but really say, not just say, hey, I need to do this, or I need to understand what I'm going and try to be strong. But I had many days that I will just say, like, God, you know what? I can't. I just can't anymore. I think I'm playing strong girl. But it's just not, I can't have no strength left anymore. And I can't do it. I can't do it. And at those moments, I kind of gave up for a second. And those are the best moments. And I think it reminds me a lot of Paul, like when I'm weak, then I'm strong. Because I think sometimes we try too hard to fight about it, Joe. And sometimes it's really like, hey, I did everything I could, but like now I can't. I just can't. I need to just lay down and rest. And I'm going to sleep right now. Okay, God, like, let's just call the day.
Yeah.
And that was the things I had to learn, because being like a go-getter is very hard to stop. It's very hard to really like drop it and say like, I can't. And that was one of the things I have to learn along the way. Trust God, and know that even though we don't want to hear, but it is time for everything. And because we are in a time now, it's such a time that is everything is so fast, so microwavable. We so everybody gets success overnight and everything. So it's so easy to look like a failure and believe that you are a failure. But you stop and maybe take a nap sometimes.
Mhm.
It should just sometimes it's what you need to let God work instead of you work.
Yeah, man, that's powerful to let go and let God and
Let
really
God, yes.
lean, yeah, and really lean into your faith to know that, God's in control of this destiny that you're creating. You're not creating it alone. Your creator's there helping you go through the struggles, overcome those challenges. So believing in something that's greater than yourself, that's going to help you unlock your fullest potential, right? And be able to get you through those dark times in your life. I believe it's vital for success, whether, I call it God, you call it God, someone else might call it the universe, the infinite intelligence, whatever they believe. But knowing that's there to be able to lean into and overcome these struggles. And I want to be clear, right? It doesn't work where you're just throwing a foxhole prayer in there and saying, God, please, remove this fear or remove this part from my life, and then boom, it's done. No, it takes teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? God wants to know that you're working with him. God wants to know that those prayers are coming from the heart, like you said. It's those heartfelt prayers where you're really leaning into that face and you're like, damn, like why is all this happening to me? Why are you doing this? But God knows you. God knows what's best for you. God knows what you could handle, right? And that got you through some of those dark times. So what other struggles though in let's go to the fashion industry first before we go into you starting this amazing business that you have. But when you were in the fashion business coming up from another country, working for Adidas, working for some of these high-end companies out there, what were the other challenges that you had to go through to be able to succeed on the other side that you had to overcome?
I think one of the things I like to share, and I share a lot with Brazilians too, because yeah, I'm Brazilian, so the accent is there. But one of the things is I think a lot of people from Brazil think like, wow, we all have to go to America because like money flows from the sky and is everything so easy. I was like, no, it's not how it works, not how it works. Just for the fashion industry. So my first year I dedicated to English because I was waiting on my papers, and also I didn't want to be one of the I didn't want to be, and I had the choice to not be one of those people that are here for many years and didn't learn the language. And I know a lot of come over and they need to work. They don't have the opportunity to stop and learn the English. Because I had it, I say I'm going to take it and accelerate this process. And then after that, I start like I went to my first is fashion school here in US, because first of all, I need the connections, networking, and I want to deter the language, the lingual, exactly like in fashion is different from Brazil and here, of course. So doing that, when I barely started, one of the things I started to communicate with the school is like that I want to get a job because I had experience. And they tried to explain to me that that's not how it works, that I had to almost finish the school, get to a time that you do internship and then start working. And I say, no, we're not going to wait all the time. We don't have that time. And I start like again, knocking the door till like they say, I'll find something that you pretty much have to pay for work. Like if you want, that's what we have. I say, okay, sign me up. And for a year or more, I pretty much like pay to work because I
Yeah.
wasn't paid at all. I was getting like I will go and will do everything, all my diligence and everything. But it was one of the best times. And sometimes people think like just get a job and everything, but what are we willing to invest to really go where we want to go? And there was a great time because gave me the opportunity to really showcase everything that I could offer, and with no stress. Because even when we get a job, sometimes we get so stressed out in like fear of losing that job. Oh, what if I
Mm.
mess it up? And for me, it was like it's like if they let me go, it's just because they feel like, because really like they have nothing to lose, and me too. And that was a great opportunity, but it's an opportunity that I feel like most people don't take it because they think like I'm not gonna do it for free. And after even in another challenge that was a lot for me in fashion industry, after I started like after some years in fashion industry, I had a teams, I have people that I lead. And what I heard the most was like from the young generation was like, this is not part of my job description, that's not what I do, this is not.
Mm.
And that would like at first made me laugh because I was like, oh, you're gonna go far in life. And second, I was like, if you continue to say that, I'm gonna go grab that job description, we're gonna toss it so we don't have trouble with that anymore. Because I was like, where are we going? And that would upset me so much. And that was when I had to learn a lot of leadership skills, because I really want to cut off some heads, like literally, Joe. It was like so upsetting to me because knowing where I come from, everything that I have to fight for the bare minimum. And then
Mm.
has people like that always had everything, absolutely everything. And then like, oh, it's not, that was so upsetting to me. And
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it was a great opportunity to really learn leadership skills, which the first time I didn't do so well because I ended up at HR, and the girl had to explain, like, we know we're with you, but we can't do that. I was like, oh. So let's say I had like few conversations with HR before I was like, oh, okay, damn it, like I have to work my leadership skills. So, but it was a struggle that also became a great asset for me. But I think I was always comparing, like Joe was upsetting. I was like, man, I had to work, like, forgive my French, but like, I had to work my ass off just to be here. Like, you just came over like you overnight, and now everything like is a problem to you. Like, I don't get it. And is something like we don't understand. And sometimes we are not achieving things because we're not willing to pay the price, to pay your due. Like, I worked for free many years to just get my first job in fashion. And then after that, I was 3 years in Forever 21 as visual merchandiser. Then somebody from Adidas found me like at Forever 21 and invited me to be part of the team. But like took years like to get there. And even for Adidas, I started like like as assistant. Then I ended up in like better positions, but I had to prove myself a lot, which is normal.
Of
But
course.
was a challenge that was very cool.
Yeah, and learning from those mistakes helped you become a better leader, right? Because you made those
Oh yeah.
leadership mistakes with HR and learning to be able to grow through that growth, right? Because failure is part of success, right? It just stands for
Oh,
first attempt in learning. So, that's powerful. And then there was the transition where you went from fashion to, nah, you know what? I'm not going to do fashion anymore. I'm going to start over and I'm going to go after this dream. I'm going to go after this pull that keeps pulling me and start my own business and find out what's over there. And there's where you were able to find purpose. So tell us a little bit more about that and what that was like.
okay. So that was closer to the pandemic, but was before, a little bit before. In my company was a lot of change and they were merging and a lot of people were letting go and I had like little kids. So at that moment, like, I think Valentino was like one or two. Anyways, it's been a while. And I say, you know what, I'm gonna start my own company. I'm gonna start my own swimwear line. And I designed the swimwear line and everything was just like a dream coming true, Joe. I love every part of the process I was sharing with people and everything. But then after like the sales and everything got stuck, and I realized that the problem was I didn't have any skills. Again, back to skills, like the hardship brings me to another phase of my life. I say like, oh, you know what? I suck in marketing and sales. That's what it is. And then I was like, I'm gonna hire somebody because you know I don't want to learn about that. I don't like it. I'm a fashion designer. I don't want to do this. And then I started hiring, but like when you start something, you can't super hire somebody that is very good. So nothing works, of course. And I threw a lot of money away. And I was obsessed, no, I'm gonna learn that. And as everything you can see by my story, I'm a little bit intense when I decide to do something, I go full force. So it was like, I'm going to learn like big time. So another time I gave myself 1 year only to become extremely good. And that's it. So I did a program that was very intense, like 1 year, super intense. And that at the midst of the program, I thought God like took me there to learn like marketing sales for my company. And then I started seeing like people that were there or in other programs, like for 5 years, for 6 years. Some like were very proud to say, I walk with this big guy from like blah, blah, blah years. And I was like, you should be ashamed. In my head, I was like, you should be ashamed because you didn't do anything with everything you learned. You still didn't launch anything. You didn't try anything. And you're still right here. I was like, don't be proud of it. Like, great to have a nice community, but it's not, I'm not paying for that. I'm paying to learn and put in action. So
Yeah.
in that moment, I said, like, but why these people are stuck here? Then I started looking at it, and then I realized that they have too many information, but they couldn't put the dots together. So they need they need help implementing what they learned, especially after all this year. So I just start creating small groups and asking questions. And then I say, you know, I can help you guys. And I start helping them like implementing what they learned. So that's when we create the first like programs that I launched and how we start creating. And then from there, I realized the need of finding people to do that because of time. Some people would learn, but also they couldn't implement because they didn't have time. So I started creating solutions for marketing with a price that was more affordable, but was a combination of I teach you what you have to do because an expert, some stuff you have to do, but also I have my team here that can help you with things that it doesn't have to be you. We can help you out. And that's how the whole process started. And also we like pivot a couple times to adjust like different markets, but that's how my whole story also came from a need for me, that I found a passion because I always loved teaching. It kind of like was a natural thing, like let me help you out, and then I started teaching again.
It's amazing when you find that purpose and that aha moment comes through, right? And it's like
Uh-huh.
smacks you in the face, and then that's all you could think about and fall in love with.
Yeah.
So who's your audience out there, and the people that you help?
Like right now we are focused more in B2B business. From small, but more like medium to bigger like companies. B2B is specialized like type of business, but it's not just lead generation. We do the whole process where I said the first step we find out about your ideal client better than yourself. Like we go deep. We really do use artificial intelligence with frameworks and things that we do. We go deep understanding what our clients wants for client. And once we understand this, we implement a process of like multi-channel campaigns, which means I'm not going to just promote you in one platform or another, but because I understood your ideal client so well, now I know your ideal client may be in LinkedIn, on X, and this part. So then we're going to create channels of campaign, and together with email marketing, SMS marketing, in a combination of many factors. But one of the things I like the most is that we put for each of our clients one specialized social seller and setter. So it's a one person that will do together with some automations that we put in place, active prospecting. So they will go after your client for you. And in another hand, we also guide you and start working more with your branding. So then we work two channels. Like one of the things that I feel like in marketing people don't understand is that they think like, oh, but I'm doing Instagram, but it's normally a combination of active prospecting with inbound, which means I start creating a way that the clients will find me, which is like build your social media, build your branding and everything. But if we do only one or only another, we can face two problems. So one, if I'm just building my brand, can take too long to turn into clients. But if I'm only doing active prospecting, means I'm constantly just chasing people. So it's kind of the pretty combo that really elevate the companies and bring the results faster.
And I want everybody out there listening to pay attention to what just happened here, right? Because Helen went from the fashion industry and then started looking for help to start a business with marketing and sales, something she didn't want to do. She looked at it like, nah, I don't want to ever do that. That's not for me. Let me get somebody that's going to help me do it. And then as she's getting help from other people, she's starting to grow a love for it and turning it into her passion and her purpose. It's never too late to find that passion or purpose. Sometimes it's something that you don't even think that you're going to do. And then all of a sudden you start to find a love for it. You start to find a passion for it. So always dig into that and realize that, man, your purpose could be right in front of you. It could be maybe something that you think that you don't even like, and then it turns
Yeah.
into that passion and purpose.
Yeah, even like people ask me about fashion all the time, and I do love fashion. Everything I do always kind of circles back to this. And but I thought I love fashion only. But what I learned, Joe, with this whole process, that I love people more than I love fashion. And
Yes.
fashion I love, but I really do love people. Again, nothing excites me more than when I'm like having a conversation and explaining something like I just did, and people go from like, "Oh, oh, like, the big old eyes, they're like, oh, understood, and bringing that clarity, for me is awesome. Is like, it is a purpose.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I hear it and feel it in your energy when you're talking about it, that it's, you're walking and living in that purpose. And, when we go through that journey of walking and living in our purpose, man, it's a journey, right? It's not a straight line to success. There's those bumps
No,
in the road, and learning how to navigate through those bumps in the road. That's where the growth is. That's where the magic happens.
yeah,
But through that process, there's certain times that we have to crack through limited beliefs and overcome certain hurdles in that journey. What are some limited beliefs that you've had to crack through on this journey that you're going on here?
I'm still have to every day.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Very,
Like
very good
every
point.
day, it's like every day. But it is the one that is not enough. And I think one thing I like to tell people when people say like, Helen, I just don't think it's for me because I don't feel like I am enough. I was like, why? You are in the right place because we're never gonna be enough. Like
Mm,
drop that thing of like being enough. We're never gonna be enough. What do you mean? Because I don't want to be enough. Because when I get to the point I'm enough for this, I don't want to be enough for my next step. And then going to be the next step. I don't want to stop growing. So I always gonna feel I'm not enough. And it's true. That's why I have to constantly like find what is the skills I don't have. And I think is like when you change the way I like this quote that is when you change the way you look things, the things change. And it's true because a lot of those hardships, like even like sales and marketing, I don't like that. I don't want to do this. I don't want to. But then when I stop, I say, well, you know what? I don't have to do this, but let me learn so I can grow what I want to grow, my company, and then I will find somebody. Then I'll be able to delegate to somebody. But let me just learn these skills because it's important. What I can learn from this, and that's I think when you change the perspective that you're looking at it is when you find a purpose because then you let God guide you. And we normally say, like, I trust God, but then we constantly say, I trust you, God, but let me just guide you to what
mm,
I want and
mm,
how I
mm,
want instead of you showing me the best way for me. And the best way for me from God normally is the way that I'm going to grow and not the ways that I'm going to get there faster. So that's the difference.
mm,
And I love that. And one of the things I had to overcome too is not just that sense like, oh, but maybe they're gonna, like, again, then comes the voices from the past. Oh, what if I go into a meeting to closing with this person, especially now that I deal with like mid-size company, bigger size, and they think I'm stupid. Remember what I heard in past? You're stupid, you're retarded, you're dumb, because of the language. Like the devil used those little words that in the past, like, yes, I overcome, less I fought for it, but it comes back because it's just like a little like test and let me see if you're good. And it will be days that will be like realize fast that like, hey, what is this? But it will be days that it will let affect me. And then takes time to realize like, no, 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 we are not this, we're not that. And for some reason, somebody that comes to a meeting with me don't want to close because they think I'm stupid and everything. They are not supposed to be my client, and it's okay.
mm,
So just
mm.
like keep moving forward. A lot of things that I had to these 2 last years was very hard for me. Joe was like one of the hardest 2 last years for me because of partnerships. A lot of like broke and I felt betrayed. Like people just sometimes disappear and things like, and it's hard to not look at those things and believe that you're not the problem. And the voices start saying like you're the problem, you're the problem. And then you start like you spend so many times and I let it the other days, the other months, like, wow, let me spend a few hours here trying to figure it out what I did wrong until hit me like, why are you spending hours going back if you're supposed to move forward? And understand that let God guide you also it means people will remove people from your life. People will that God will remove things from your life and things that you love. It's not just things that you don't love, but we only pay attention in things that we love. And if we're paying attention more in somebody we care about it or love or a partnership or a business or something more than we pay attention more God were guiding me, that's a problem and will be removed, because sometimes that's the wake up call I need from God to keep going to the right direction.
Yeah. Man, that's powerful, man. And I hope, man, for the listeners out there, there's quite a few things she said there that's really powerful and that I want to kind of uncover there. So she spoke about not being defined by your past, right? Like those past uh, comments of you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, all the things that you were told from the past, even though they came up, you didn't allow that past to define you. You were able to move forward from that. And also cracking through that limited belief of I'm not good enough and not believing, not allowing that inner critic, right, to take control and realizing, nah, that inner critic isn't going to control me. I control my own destiny. That's powerful right there, because you got to realize that inner critic, those limited beliefs are always going to come up. They're going to be part of the journey, but learning how to crack through them and not allowing that inner critic to control you and realizing you control how much power you give that inner critic, right? And the other thing you mentioned, which I think is so powerful, I'm a big believer in, is learning to really turn your will over and allowing God to drive the car. Because when you try to drive that car by yourself, you're gonna crash. It's just it's the nature of life. You have to allow that higher source to be in control, because that's your creator. That's what created you. That's what put you here to live the life that you're living. In order to really unlock that fullest potential, let that higher source do the driving, man. Let him do the drive. He could drive the car a lot better than you can, because he knows exactly where you got to go. He knows what obstacles to avoid, what to put you through, and what challenges you can't overcome. So, man, that's powerful, Helen. I love the way that you flip that mindset to be able to move forward like that. So obviously, a huge core value of yours is spirituality. I mean, that's obvious. That goes without saying. What are some other core values that you uncovered by cracking through some of these limited beliefs that you now are able to kind of dig into to help you move forward?
One of my core values is it's important to me to do things that I value, meaning not just for money. And it's okay. And some people may gonna look like more successful than me, and they're gonna make money and grow faster than me. But when I try to do like what is trendy, where people are doing, not trying to do something that I'm helping somebody grow, that really go to my core, to what I understand, I also think in. So one of my core values I always watch and see, even when I'm selling something or something, is this really gonna help somebody, gonna be a bless for somebody? Is this or not? Is one of the things that I always ask before I do it, because it's easy to get excited sometimes for the shiny object, but it's like, where am I going with this? Is really, really blessing me and somebody else, or are we both gonna be like dying here? So I think this is, for me, is goes beyond that part. And the core value I think here is understand who I am. And one thing I feel like we have a tendency as humans, understand everything around us and go to college and learn about things, but we forget to know, learn, and understand and value who we are, the difference between us. So one of the things that connect both of us, Joe, is like not just the energy, but also that we love God, but sometimes we drop some bombs, like that's how we communicate with God. And I love that. And for
Yeah.
so long in my life, I used to criticize myself for that and be mad, because what I heard was always like, you can't say that, you can't use bad words and everything. I was like, be upset. But then when I learned, I said, yeah, hell, maybe have a big mouth, but like, God loves her. Like, that's how he created me. And then I think we'll
Yes.
understand what is important to me truly, and kind of shut down the world around me. It's a core value.
Yeah, absolutely. Knowing that you're God's creation and He made you the way He made you, and you're perfect the way He made you. You don't have to change
Yeah.
for anybody else, anything else. When you're true to who you are, it makes God blush. And that's through
Yeah.
the imperfections because none of us are perfect. And if
No.
you go, if you start, I mean, when you start really building that relationship with that higher source, and you start realizing that it's a relationship, and it's a God of your understanding. Nobody could tell you that your belief is wrong in what you believe that that higher source is like.
Yeah.
That's the difference with religion and spirituality. The rules go out the
Uh-huh.
window. You don't have to have all the rules and regulations, and you can't do this, you can't do that. I mean, you just have to be authentic to who you are. And if you're being of service and doing the assignments that that creator puts in front of you, oh man, because he's going to give you assignments, and when you follow through on those assignments, man, the doors that open, the mountains that get moved, is truly a blessing, y'all. I'm hoping
It is.
everybody's paying attention to that because that's so real. um
Exactly.
Helen, please tell everybody out there where they could find you, what you're doing now, and to the listeners out there who are looking to build their business and take it to the next level, man, I highly success looking into what Helen's doing with her sales and marketing because she does a phenomenal job and she's very passionate about what she does.
Thank you. They can find me on LinkedIn at Helen Nitsky, which is double L and H. Nitsky is Nitschke. And I'm gonna give you guys. Can I give you a gift?
Of course, absolutely. Sharing is caring.
Okay. Sure, it's scary. So yeah, I created this book and it can be downloaded as PDF. That is just like how to leverage like AI for your B2B lead generation and marketing and everything. So and then I share everything like from tools for tips and trends and everything. So it's very, very complete. I'm gonna share with your audience.
Awesome, guys. And you guys are all going to get all that in the show notes. And man, Helen, it's been phenomenal having you on as a guest. I knew the energy was there. I
Yeah.
mean, it was always there from when we met. I knew it'd be dope when we get together on the podcast, and it's been everything I expected to be and more. So I want to
Awesome.
say thank you again for coming on. My gratitude is through the roof for that.
Thank you so much for having me, Joe. It's always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Yeah, always, always. And for all the listeners out there, thank you for listening. And please don't forget to share, like, because there's people out there that might need to hear the message of resilience, might need to make their own comeback story, and they don't know how. So being able to tune in to Reforge Your Life is a way for them to do that, man. So everyone stay productive, stay profitable, and stay blessed.
You've been listening to Reforge Your Life with your host, Joe Rivera. Make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. To learn more about Joe Rivera and how he can help you or your organization reforge your life and regain your place at the top, head on over to withjoerivera.com and follow Joe on all social platforms. The Reforge Your Life podcast was produced by Thrive Loud Productions. Thanks for listening.